Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so just showing off a few little symbols here, and we're going to get into the match. I apologize, the cards are a little hard to see. I haven't figured out quite how to make it work properly, but you can see the numbers in the bottom left, and that is the most important part of the entire thing. So, I do admit that I am recording this in post, because it's a 30-something minute match, and I want to reduce it down and make it a lot quicker. I've added a few new cards. We're starting off with a Camazot in the bottom left-hand corner. He's a good, strong minion for there. We're putting a Terra for blue, or for red, in the top left corner. Another good piece to put there. She puts a monolith up, and she's going to place it next to the fire giant in the middle. This will give any minions plus or gods +1/+1. So kind of making a play to go for the fire giant. Kukulkan coming in the top right-hand corner. Kukulkan is going to drop his tornado, which will be a blue tornado. Blue tornado. There we go. In the bottom right-hand corner to stop a Kabrakan from coming out in case the enemy has it. But the enemy doesn't actually have it, but, you know, I played as if I didn't know that. And I actually did not think about it at the time either, so that worked out quite well. So player 2 is going to drop... Maybe. He's going to drop on a Wheelik. It's going to pull the Kukulkan out of position, exposing its weak side. And, yeah. So player 1 has the option of trying to protect the Kukulkan, or not to. The player 1 is going to very slowly look at his options. Gonna play maybe this one, maybe the other one. Nope, he's gonna play Chalk here. He's gonna heal for 4, but you can't go above 30, so therefore it doesn't matter. And yeah, moving on. We are looking for the Kukulkan card that is somewhere. Again, noting that the rules for this are slightly different. This is mainly just me testing cards. So we find Kukulkan. He places Kukulkan down. He kills the Chalk. Well, rest in peace. Yes, that's my beautiful art. Moving on. I am considering turning the card sideways. I'm not sure how it'll work exactly, but it is a consideration because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like because the way the games are designed, I don't know. It seems like it might work, it might not, I don't know. So the enemy Kukulkan places his tornadoes on the fire giant. So that reduces fire giant down to a 7 on all sides. Mainly meaning that the left-hand side is very vulnerable to being taken. A fire giant will deal 8 damage if it is taken, so that's a pretty good chunk of somebody's health. That's almost a third of the health that you have. Alright, so Hunbots is coming out. He's going to kill Kukulkan, meaning that Kukulkan won't deal his 4 damage, which is good for the blue player. So player 2, just kind of looking around. Player 2 is going to judge his options. He's going to drop a Chalk right there. He's going to take out the Hunbots and, again, heal himself, but there's no damage taken yet, so yeah, that happens. So player 1 is going to weigh his options. Looking at the cards that he has, he doesn't have a ton of options, but he has a few. He could definitely do some damage if he wanted to. His optimal play, if he could kill the Chalk, he would reduce the armor that the guy takes. Alternatively, he could... I think right now I'm kind of looking at what my options are. And... Yep. So just going to play a card right here. Kind of to block one of the sides of the fire giant. Also weakening the fire giant, bringing it down to a 6/6/6/7, with the 7 being on the bottom. Is the play that happens. So he's trying to kind of counter the fire giant a little bit, weakening it, making it a little bit easier for him to take. And that's what happens. Kind of weighing options for player 2 here. He could taunt the Shibalanke out of position, but instead he's just going to drop the Vulcan to deal the 4 damage that Vulcan does with his Earth Shatterer, or Shaker, excuse me. That is his ability. just straight up 4 damage. It's a power card. He knows it's a little vulnerable, but he also knows that he has that buff right there below, so he could possibly take it back fairly easy. So the Ra is going to drop. Now, Ra deals a beam damage, it's his ultimate, to all cards across that direction. So he's dealing 7 damage to all cards, so I move appropriately. He brings his Chalk back, and his Shibalanke, and he kills Vulcan and the enemy Chalk. So that's a big turn play for him. That's a board clear, basically, is what just happened. So, player 2 now has to weigh their options. What can they do? What can they do? Fire Giant, still vulnerable. He doesn't know the cards that the enemy has, but he does know that it's fairly easy for him to take that. So he drops his Ra. Ra deals 8 damage to the Fire Giant, which is more than it has, way more. I could have killed it without it. But it is and I think I may even make a mistake now that I think about it. It is no, okay. Coming up is no mistake. There is no mistakes by me. I don't know what you're talking about. So, Ra takes it. Ra is now going from the left down, he is a 6, 5, 8, 2. So he's quite powerful. That +1 to all stats is really helpful to him. But again, it's situational. Enemy could sit on it and stop you from getting it. So, you know, there are advantages, there are disadvantages. Player 1, weighing options, looking at what he can do, trying to get a good board state. Currently, he's looking like he's going to take 8 damage unless he can figure out a good crafty way to steal the Fire Giant back. He doesn't have any cards that really allow him to do this right now. So what he does is he pulls the enemy Awilix to his weak side, and he also takes out the Ra. So good play by him. He doesn't take out the Awilix, but he definitely puts it in a weakened position, which is not good for him. So player 2's options are kind of limited. I think actually there is a mistake right here. We'll see in a second. Because I am fairly certain if I make the play I think I'm going to make... Yeah, okay, so I did make a mistake right here. Because the character counts as a lot of... And I never put the dead thing on him either. Or did, and I deleted it. Because the character is alive, the Alposh would not have been able to take him back. So that's a mechanic I did not take into consideration, because the card would be +1/+1 anyway. And the reason that I'm stating that it's like this is for what you'll see in a moment. Cards are not technically dead until the end of the match. So it's kind of like, the reason that the stats work the way they do is, or the, you know, how cards can save each other is like on the Smite with Ra, I'm saying that Ra kills the Vulcan and the Chalk, so that, you know, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's the reasoning behind it. So he's going to drop the Amusing Cob to kind of try to protect the Awilix, because Amusing Cob deals a lot of damage up front, it's 3 damage, and then he's kind of just a defensive character. But here's the power play. Bellona, new card that I made. I'm showing her off right here. So she picks a target, so she's picking Fire Giant, and then, as soon as it moves, good Lord, I left this up there for way too long talking about it. So she's going to pick Fire Giant, and then clockwise, she'll hit Chalk, hit Amusing Cob, and then deal +2 damage. So she'll deal 7 damage, and that will allow her to steal the Fire Giant. That's a big play. Big play. She can't kill the Amusing Cob. She could have. No, she couldn't have. She can't kill the Amusing Cob, but she can still Fire Giant, and that is what matters. And, yeah, so... yeah, moving on. So player 1, or is that player 2? Player 2 is attempting to minimize casualties. He kills off the Camazot. Because there are no dead cards near Camazot, he can't use his passive to buff himself. His essence drinking. Player 1's options are not great, but he drops an Alposh. Alposh would delete... Oh! I didn't even think of that. I forgot about that. Alposh deletes... Oh, no, he kills it. That's why I didn't do it. Okay. So, yeah. Medusa kills it with her ability to petrify, turning them to a 1 on a stat, and so her 6 beats a 1. Coming down is the... Do I do Athena? What do I do? Oh yeah, I just go for damage, that's right. So player 1 drops a Musen Cobb, deals the 3 damage. He's a 6/5, kind of hard to take. Player 2 knows that their only option is to tank up, basically. He has 2 tank cards, which will allow him to get a good amount of armor. So he decides to drop the Cabrakan in the Whirlwind, even though it will reduce him to the 7 to a 6 and the 6 to a 5. That's his only real option, so he goes for it. He sees no massive problem with that. Alright, so he kills a Musen Cobb and also deals 4 more damage, which kind of cancels out the Cabrakan a little bit, but you know, and then 2 more because he can't kill it at all. Then he drops the Athena for 4 more armor. So calculating totals here, and you guys don't have to deal with me doing math, player 2 ends with 10 health. Totally calculating up all the damage done with characters that are still alive versus armor gained. As you can see, we kind of zoom in a little bit. Yeah, player 1 goes down to 17 with all the direct damage. He doesn't have a whole lot of armor cards in play, so therefore he doesn't tank up as much. So it's kind of a strategy there. And that's what happens. So it's 17 to 10. Going into the next round, Fire Giant goes back up to full health because it was killed. And yeah, we would replay the next match. And if player 2 somehow manages to make a good comeback, which is possible, he would be able to win. But that's the end of the match. And yeah, just kind of going over counting points. And that's just kind of what I have so far. Obviously, this is just in a program, a Google Doc program, that I'm able to move the cards around a lot easier. And I hope you guys like it. I hope you enjoy. Give me your feedback. And we will talk again later. Bye, guys.